Welcome back to Nation of Glory, the channel where legends are remembered, icons are celebrated, and the stories behind the greatest names in sports, wrestling, and entertainment are told like never before. Today, we bring you the extraordinary journey of a man who carried the weight of greatness on his shoulders literally. From the Olympic stage to the squared circle of WWE, Mark Gerald Henry became known to the world as the world's strongest man, but behind the titles, the medals, and the championships is the story of a boy who dreamed big, fought through pain, and rose to become one of the most respected figures in the history of professional wrestling and strength sports. This is the unforgettable story of Mark Henry. Mark Henry was born on June 12, 1971, in Silsbee, Texas, a small town where dreams often seemed far away. From a young age, Mark was different. He was bigger than most kids his age, stronger than anyone around him, and he carried himself with a sense of determination that would define his life. But life wasn't easy. At just 12 years old, Mark lost his father, a tragedy that could have broken him. Instead, it lit a fire inside him. He decided that he would honor his father's memory by becoming something great, something the whole world would notice. As a child, Mark was inspired by professional wrestling, idolizing the legendary Andre the Giant. When other kids dreamed about superheroes, Mark saw real-life heroes in the ring. He imagined himself there one day, and even as a boy, he spoke about becoming a wrestler. But before wrestling would come calling, Henry had another gift that pushed him toward the global stage: his unmatched strength. In high school, he was already dominating powerlifting competitions, breaking records, and making headlines. His raw power was undeniable, and by the time he was a teenager, Mark Henry was being called the strongest teen in the world. This wasn't just hype, it was fact. His lifts stunned coaches and athletes everywhere, and soon he was competing nationally, representing not just himself, but the hopes of those who saw in him the makings of a legend. His journey led him to Olympic weightlifting, where he represented the United States on the grandest stage of them all. He competed in the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona and returned again in 1996 in Atlanta. Along the way, he captured gold, silver, and bronze medals at the Pan American Games in 1995. For many, that alone would be enough to define a lifetime. But for Mark Henry, it was just one chapter. He wanted more. Even as he conquered the world of strength sports, his childhood dream of professional wrestling never left him. And in 1996, fate came calling. WWE, then known as WWF, signed Mark Henry to a 10-year contract, a contract that shocked the world at the time. Few athletes came in with such hype, but Henry was determined to prove that he wasn't just a strong man, he was an entertainer, a competitor, and a future champion. His early days in WWE weren't easy. Wrestling fans didn't fully understand him yet, and critics questioned if he could make the transition from Olympic weightlifter to professional wrestler. But Mark Henry never gave up. He trained harder than ever, learning the craft, perfecting his presence, and slowly carving out his place in a world full of giants. One of his early storylines was being part of the Nation of Domination, a group that would become legendary in WWE history. Alongside stars like The Rock, Ron Simmons, and Dollar Brown, Henry began to show his personality, his strength, and his charisma. He wasn't just another big man, he had character, he had humor, and he had heart. As the years went on, Mark Henry evolved. He became known as the world's strongest man in WWE, a moniker that wasn't just for show, it was backed by real-world competitions. In 2002, he entered the Arnold Strongman Classic, one of the toughest strength competitions in the world, and won it. That victory silenced any doubters. Mark Henry wasn't just a character, he was the real deal, the legitimate strongest man walking the planet. In WWE, he embraced that identity, turning it into something unforgettable. Fans saw him lift opponents with ease, deliver crushing slams, and dominate with power that no one else could match. His Hall of Pain persona became one of the most feared in wrestling, where he promised to break anyone who stood in his way. It was during this time that Mark Henry had some of the greatest matches of his career, taking down legends, winning championships, and cementing his legacy. In 2011, his hard work and perseverance paid off when he captured the World Heavyweight Championship, one of the most prestigious titles in wrestling. It was a moment years in the making, a validation of everything he had worked for since he was a boy in Silsbee dreaming about wrestling. With tears in his eyes and fire in his voice, Mark Henry stood tall as champion, and fans across the world celebrated with him. But even beyond the championships and the strength records, what makes Mark Henry's story so powerful is his resilience. Time and again, he was doubted. Time and again, he was injured, criticized, or overlooked. And every single time, he came back stronger. He proved that true greatness isn't about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up. Outside of the ring, Mark Henry has been just as inspiring. He's a mentor to younger athletes, a voice for representation in wrestling, and an ambassador for strength sports. He has shown that success isn't just about personal glory, it's about lifting others up, opening doors, and leaving the world better than you found it. Even after his retirement from full-time competition, his impact remains. Signed under a Legends contract with WWE, Mark Henry continues to be a respected figure, appearing at special events and sharing his wisdom with the next generation. His legacy is etched in history, not just as a wrestler, but as an Olympian, a strong man, a champion, and most of all, an inspiration. Mark Henry's journey is proof that dreams can come true, even when the odds are stacked against you. From losing his father at a young age, to becoming the strongest teenager in the world, to representing his country on the Olympic stage, and finally achieving his dream of WWE superstardom, his story is one of perseverance and triumph. He showed the world that strength isn't just measured in pounds lifted, or opponents slammed, it's measured in the will to keep going, the heart to believe in yourself, and the courage to chase your dreams no matter how impossible they seem. Today, when fans look back at Mark Henry's career, they see more than just the world's strongest man. They see a trailblazer, a role model, and a legend who never gave up on himself. His life reminds us all that greatness is not given, it's earned, rep by rep, match by match, and dream by dream. This has been the story of Mark Gerald Henry, the world's strongest man, the Olympian, the champion, and the legend who turned strength into glory. Thank you for watching Nation of Glory. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with others who love wrestling and the legends who inspire us all. Your support helps us bring more stories of greatness to light. Until next time, remember the glory always lives on.